So I'm spot on when it comes to LeBron James and Bronny. And I get it. Every single one of you here disagrees with me, but it's nepotism. Curtis, it doesn't surprise me that you're a fan of nepotism.
I majored in it.
You have not been a fan of it previously on this show with regard to Bill Belichick and his sons,
Right.
but suddenly you are. There are individuals who work their entire lives to be a draft pick in the NBA. There are players that I'm certain were better than Bronny James available at that spot that the Lakers picked at. And it demeans, in my opinion, the value of the National Basketball Association when a dude gets his son chosen by demanding that the team that he plays for will pick them, and then he will stay there. And the fact that his agent I can't believe people aren't more bothered by this. The fact that his agent is calling teams up. And so, what are you looking at?
No one believes
do
that.
we have audio on this?
Yeah, so we have
Who is
audio. This is an ESPN roundtable discussing what the rumored threat was from LeBron James's agent to other teams wanting to draft Bronny.
Rich Paul's calling teams, don't take Bronny James. He's telling them, do not take him, okay? He's saying, don't take him. If you take him, he's going to Australia. So he has a plan and he has a place.
But he's not telling the Lakers.
I don't know if he's telling one team.
Mark Tatum.
And that was Bob Myers on ESPN last
So you're
night.
telling me that it's okay for an agent to call teams up, and so like the Celtics picked before the Lakers in that round. So to call Brad Stevens up and say, listen, if you take Bronny James, he's going to go play in Australia because he has to play with his dad, that doesn't demean the value of the NBA draft?
But it happens in sports all the time.
It doesn't really. Give me another time when it happens.
Eli Manning goes, I'm not going to the Chargers.
He wasn't threatening to go play in the
John
CFL.
Elway.
I would have called his bluff, though. If I'm the Celtics and you want Bronny and you want call his
Those
bluff.
are also number one picks that you're talking about.
What's the difference? We're just talking about players.
It's the difference is a guy who averaged 4 points a game in college.
But we're just talking about we're talking about players who go, I don't want to play in a specific I don't necessarily believe that because I think that
because you're going to defend LeBron James till the end of time.
No, I think if somebody really wanted Bronny James, they would have drafted him. But I don't think anybody wanted him but the Lakers. So I don't think, even if Rich Paul is calling people up, like calling Brad Stevens, like, hey, don't draft him. Brad's probably thinking, like, Rich, I wasn't going to draft him anyway.
Yeah.
Other than the Lakers, I don't think anybody realistically was going to draft Bronny. What you're going to hate, Greg, is that in 2 years, you're probably going to see it again with his youngest son, Bryce.
But this is Wiggy and Greg and Courtney and everybody. This is the simplest life example of exceptions for exceptional people. The best at what they do. LeBron is in the top 3, 4 of greatest players in the history of his sport. You get to do things like this. And if Bronny was really good or LeBron wasn't, this isn't a story.
Right.
This was a perfect confluence of events of a guy that was a tweener guy in the NBA with a team that was where the star player was his father.
Right.
If this is, who's the guy from Maine, Flagg? What's his name next?
Cooper Flagg.
Okay. If Cooper Flagg were Bronny James, the team picking first next year would not defer to the Lakers.
Right.
They would take him at number 1.
And you'd have an argument if Bronny James or if the Lakers went way out of their way to draft Bronny, if they had a top 10 pick and they go,
or they traded up to get him.
It's like basically it's like a 7th round draft pick, and the head coaches goes, I'm going to draft my son with the Mr. Irrelevant pick.
It's never happened before. Like it's never happened before.
Because it's hard to do.
What's hard to do? It's never happened before where a player like LeBron James demanded that a team take his less than excellent son, or he's going to go elsewhere and play. Like
because it's hard to do. Because
what's hard to do?
Well, it's hard what he's been like. I think Bronny, whether you like this situation or not, you can't look at Bronny and say that he hasn't put the work in to be a good player. Like he's worked his way up this entire time. Maybe he shouldn't have gone at 55 overall.
No, but what I'm saying, it's hard to do is LeBron would have to have a kid. You'd have to have the kid young, and then you'd have to play a long time to have it where you could actually be in that position of a good enough player to do. It's hard to do to have a kid and then play professionally. I think it's only happened, 6 times maybe? The Griffies. Didn't Gordie Howe?
Okay, Ken Griffey Jr., phenomenal player.
No, but I'm just saying
it's a completely different.
Well, you're forgetting one. Ty Law and his son Peyton Manning.
I'm talking about you as
Pedro and the entire Yankees organization.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm saying you and your dad
Tom Brady and the Bills.
being at an age where you can both be in a professional league is really hard to do. Because the dad has to have you pretty young, and then he has to play a long time.
It makes the NBA look, the fact that everybody acquiesced on this makes the NBA look lame, makes them look weak. Like, so any player now in any league can just demand that their kid be on the team, or they're going to go elsewhere. Like
no, you got to be good.
Who's good?
There's only so many superstars that can pull this off.
Okay, so any superstar then can now demand that their child be on the team with them?
If they're good enough.
I cannot believe you're okay with this.
Yeah, I have no issue.
It's the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard.
It
and
happens
I've heard a lot
in the
of
real world
ridiculous
every
things.
day. The biggest companies across the country.
Like, the biggest companies are that somebody's demanding that their son go to work there?
Did you watch
yes.
Succession?
Where?
If you look at JP Morgan, if you look at any of the big banks out there, their kids are running the companies. It's given down to them over and over again.
I mean, look at Fidelity. The Johnson kids are all like. I mean, there's a million different examples of people that have worked in companies giving it to their kids.
Yes, she happens to be, arguably, the single greatest fund manager in the history of fund managers.
Do you know who I think the best play-by-play guy is right now? Well, there's two: Sean McDonough and Joe Buck.
All right.
What do they have in common?
Their dads both did it.
Right.
No, their dads did not.
Jack Buck?
Sean McDonough, you brought up.
Right.
His father was a writer for the Boston Globe. He wasn't a play-by-play guy.
So you don't think his father, Sean McDonough, I love. I think
Wiggy and I saw him yesterday at lunch.
This is not a personal attack in any way. He's a good guy who's been great to me. What I'm explaining is he was given an opportunity. His father was the first NFL newspaper reporter on a pregame show of any genre.
Correct.
He broke into TV. His son was given an opportunity, thanks in part to his father, which I don't think Sean would dispute. And Joe Buck...
I think Sean would dispute that.
No, I think Sean would go, the reason why I was able to get in the doors because my dad picked up the phone and made a few calls and helped me out. You know who could potentially be in this situation is Jason Tatum. If he plays till he's 38, 39 years old and he's good,
he's going to want Deuce to play with him.
He's got a kid who's at the age where when that kid gets to 19, which Bronny is, his dad could still be playing in the NBA. And he could maybe if he's still good enough, could say, I want whatever team I'm playing for to use a late round draft pick if his kid's like a Bronny and say, I want to play with him. Mm-hmm. Because LeBron is still good enough to do that. And it's the 55th pick. It's basically nothing.
What's going to happen?
Why not keep your superstar
What do you think's going to happen to Bronny when LeBron James retires? They're going to be like,
he'll be out of the
bye.
league.
See ya.
So what?
Hey, Greg, can I ask you a question? Who owns the Lakers?
The daughter of the
Jeannie Buss.
Jeannie Buss.
Yes. And so
did she work her way into that spot?
I mean, I would.
Would she be owning the team if her father didn't own it first?
Was Jerry Buss the single only shareholder in that company, or did the board of directors have to vote her?
No, there was a familial dispute, but it was. I mean, she's done a great job. This is again not an attack on anybody's ability.
Right.
It would be very, very hypocritical if Jonathan Kraft and Jeannie Buss bitched about nepotism.
Would Jeannie Buss keep the job if she wasn't very well qualified to run a basketball team?
I don't know if she's one of the best 30 people on the planet that could run a basketball team.
Oh,
she happened into that because of her father owning the team.
I think it's like I want to say it's the Jacksonville Jaguars coach. What's his name? Is it Doug Peterson?
Yes.
I think he might have drafted his kid late. Like, if you have the opportunity to do that and your kid's like a bubble kid and you're in a position where, you know what? I'm the head coach.
It's also way different when it comes to the NFL because there's 64 players on that roster. There's not the opportunity for what's an NBA? What do they carry? 20 guys?
No, in the NBA?
Yeah.
I think it's like maybe 15
So you're taking
to 20.
away a roster spot from somebody who deserves it for your kid because you want the joy of playing with your own kid in the NBA, and you're holding every team in the NBA hostage, and everybody's just like, yep, fine. If you're good enough, it's LeBron James.
But Greg, if you are willing to allow, let's just use the NFL for an example. Clark Hunt owns the Chiefs, okay?
Yes.
His father owned the Chiefs. There are only 31 NFL owners. The Packers are publicly held. If you're willing to allow the team to be run in the most exclusive club by a guy that was there only by birthright, then you don't have the right to tell a player that he can't do the same for his son.
It's different. LeBron James doesn't own the Lakers.
Right.
His boss got there because of nepotism. And they're going to bitch about nepotism with LeBron James?
And in the NFL, there's probably, not many guys that could do it. Would you have had an issue, and Brady could have did it. If he would have had a kid at like 19 or 20, he played till he was, 45? Now his kid's 22 years old coming out of college. Like if Brady goes to a team, goes, hey, listen, I want you to draft my kid. Maybe my kid's a late-round draft pick, or maybe not even good enough to get drafted.
I think we all believe that Bronny James is going to see a reasonable amount of time in NBA basketball games this season, right?
No.
So that's the whole point of the thing,
he's
Wiggy.
not.
It is. So
he's not.
Yes,
I'm
that's
with
what
Greg
Courtney
on this
is
one.
telling you.
I think
the
we're
whole
going to see
point
him.
of it is so they have a story to tell, and so he and his son can
I
play
bet
together.
dollars to donuts.
Is that right? Is it right that he sees a
He
considerable?
won't play. This is what's going to happen.
So what's the point of LeBron James doing it if he's not going to play?
Because I'm going to tell you, it's going to get to a point where later on in the season, whenever there's going to be a game, there's going to be a major milestone, and what J.J. Redick or LeBron's going to do is say, hey, listen, I want you to stop Bronny for this game. Him and I will start together. He'll get about a minute, and then he'll be back at the end of the bench. If he can barely play in college, you think he's going to start and play significant minutes?
He doesn't want to start.
I think maybe
significant minutes on an NBA team. He can barely play in college.
Maybe Dan Hurley isn't there because he didn't want to participate in this massive farce of a joke.
That could be it. That
ever
could be a
think about
reason why
that?
Dan Hurley didn't want to go.
They're like, hey, we'll give you a giant bag of cash, but you gotta draft Bronny James.
I bet you
who averaged 4 points a game in college.
I bet you he averages a minute or less in the NBA.
But none of us could name the Celtics' second-round picks. I had forgotten the one they took last night.
Right.
Anton Watson.
Courtney's taught great job in the trending.
Go Zags.
The Celtics took a guy from Creighton and from Gonzaga, neither of which will see the floor in the next 2 to 3 years.
And
It's actually Gonzaga, Curtis, but I don't want to.
And
What did I
Bronny,
say?
You said Gonzaga, but
Oh, I always call it Gonzaga.
yeah, it's okay.
isn't that what it is?
No, it's Gonzaga.
No N.
Oh, okay. But Bronny won't.
Is there an N?
Yeah.
Oh, there's an N, but it's not pronounced.
No, it is.
Well, Curtis is saying Gonzaga. What's wrong with
No,
that?
he's saying Gonzaga. It's Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Like zigzag
Yeah.
We are ending this week with a
instead of
bang.
saga.
Yeah, it doesn't
I got
bother
you,
me.
Courtney.
Because he won't. If that Greg, you'd have a leg to stand on if Bronny was playing significant minutes.
Who's the coach at Gonzaga?
No idea.
Mark Few.
Used to be Brad
And you
Stevens,
think, knowing LeBron James as you do, you think he's going to go through this whole entire giant farce of a move, and his kid isn't going to get any playing time?
No. You said significant minutes. His kid's going to get one game where him and LeBron are on the court.
One game?
Yeah.
So they're doing this whole thing for one game, and that's not a joke for the NBA? They're doing the whole thing.
It'll be one game more than the Celtics' second-round pick plays this year.
Right.
What's the difference?
Bingo. It's not you're making it seem like that Bronny is going to break the rotation because of LeBron. No, he's going to sit at the end of the bench. He's going to cheer his dad on. He's going to travel.
The first thing he had to do to make that happen was get him drafted, and he was able to do that. So I guess we'll see.
When you're good, that's what happens.
This is John in the car. Hello, John.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up?
Greg, I totally agree with you on this. LeBron James pretty much held his team hostage with his contract, everything. He's like, I'm not going to play for these guys if they don't draft my kid. That's what these guys are missing. That's totally different from everything else they're talking about as far as nepotism. The kids from these big businesses are not going to their dad saying that I'm going to hold my contract so you can't do business.
Yeah.
That's what he did. It totally lowered the entire NBA by doing that.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you on
You
that.
and I agree.
But LeBron said he wasn't going to play if you didn't draft him. He never said that.
Yeah, he said he wanted to go to a team where the two of them could play together.
Right, so he would have went to a team that if somebody drafted him, he would have went to a team because he has a player option.
Right, so the Lakers had no choice. But
how many people can be like LeBron James, Greg, and do this? Like, we're talking about this. I agree. It is not, quote, fair. But fair left the building a long time ago.
Stop. Like, yeah, exactly, Curtis.
Like, there's no such thing as it. I mean, Bronny got a lot of opportunities, but we've talked about it. You know, Christian Fourier, great tight end, great host here. His son got opportunities that maybe Brees didn't get.
Right.
You've complained about that. But there's a reason why Christian Fourier, who is a, God love, I'm guy to guy, a good-looking man, strong guy.
Yeah.
He has all the genes that I don't have. Like,
it's
it
well
makes
documented that if Brees Hill's last name was Fourier or Wiggins, he would have been playing D1 football.
Yeah.
Probably be in the NFL today.
Well, I don't know about that.
That was unfair.
But definitely, you could definitely pick up the phone and call people. I tell my kids all the time, your last name might get you there, but it won't keep you there.
Picking the phone up and calling somebody, getting somebody an interview, I have no problem with that. That's fine. It's not demanding that the company you work for, it'd be like me demanding, hey, I'm not going to stay here anymore unless you bring Brees in and you make him the vice president of sales. And
Yeah, but if you have that
by the way, he
juice-
has zero experience in that, but I want that done tomorrow.
But if
He
you
would
have,
do a really good
but
job,
if you-
though.
And Bronny has a lot of experience in basketball.
but if you have that juice, Greg,
I wouldn't do it
You
because it's
wouldn't
not
do
the
it.
right thing for the organization.
Listen, stop with these people that are bitching in the Twitch. It's not their. Listen, it's not Bronny's fault that he was gifted this unbelievable. LeBron was gifted this unbelievable talent.
He was gifted an
And then
unbelievable last name.
No,
That's
no.
what Bronny James
No,
was
LeBron,
gifted
though.
with, an unbelievable last
LeBron
name.
was gifted this unbelievable talent. Had a kid. His kid's is a very good athlete. Is a decent basketball player, but luckily his kid, Bronny's dad is LeBron, and LeBron has enough power to go to the organization and go draft my kid, or I'm taking a player option and I'm going to play with him.
And I